Alright class, let's go ahead and get settled down here today. Let's go and get started with today's episode of Deck Tech 101. Alright, so in today's episode, what we're going to talk about here is we're going to talk about a Blood Diamond deck that I came up against in the Tournament of Streamers, now called the Challenge Series, put on by HEX TCG Pro. This is a deck that came up against in the first round, and absolutely, I shouldn't say absolutely destroyed me, but it did very well against me. And I recorded the footage, and I think I got most of the cards that the actual opponent was playing. I may have missed some, but so I just improvised what I thought would actually be a good card to put in there. So this, after seeing the deck put together, it's pretty much a metagame deck, more or less. All the cards there are what you would see either splashed in other decks or in a similar deck compared to this here. So like I said, it's a Blood Diamond deck. Let's go and get started here. And the first thing we got here, since we are split colors, we're going to be running 11 Diamond Shards. And we are going to be running 11 Blood Shards. Along with those shards there, we're going to be running 3 Shards of Fate. Now, whether or not you need to run 11 of each shard and 3 Shards of Fate, that's for you to determine there. I don't know if the opponent was running this many or not. This is just where I felt like the balance worked out really well. So that's where I left it at there. So the first card that we are going to look at here is Surge Mechanism. Surge Mechanism is strictly there to start gaining us resources. Now, like I said, do you need to run 11 of each shard here? Probably not with this. If you can get this out there early enough, combined with this here, combined with your shard play, you're going to be able to ramp up your resources very quickly. And that's one thing that my opponent did to me, is he ramped up his resources very quickly, and before I know it, he had 25 resources, and he used a Life Siphon and killed me. So, 3 Surge Mechanisms is what's in this deck here. We're going to run 3 Secret Laboratories. Now, everybody knows Secret Laboratory has been changed. It's been from 3 cost to 4 cost. Still not a end of the world, but it just takes 1 turn longer to be able to play him, 1 turn longer to be able to grab a card. So we're going to run 3 of those. We're only running actual 2 troops in this entire deck. And the first troop here is Eternal Guardian. Everybody knows Eternal Guardian has flight, and Eternal Guardian prevents all damage that would be dealt to you and other troops you control. Eternal Guardian is a badass, in my opinion. He is 8 resource costs, but again, with the shards we're laying down and with Surge Mechanism, he isn't that hard to actually get out. The other troop we're going to be running here is Ozawa. Ozawa Cosmic Elder. He has been changed a little bit. He went from 7 cost to Threshold to 8 cost to Threshold. Still not a huge impact, but still it's 1 turn later where you can actually get him out there. So those are the actual 2 troops that we only run in this deck here. The other cards here are basically removal and health gain, things like that, and you'll see here in just a second. So since we are running Blood, we are going to run 4 Extinctions. I think Extinction didn't change at all this last patch here. It's still 4 cost, 2 Threshold. Destroy all troops on the field, and we don't ever lay any troops down, so we don't have to worry about having any troops that we have to destroy ourselves unless we have Eternal Guardian or Ozawa down, which at that point in time, we should not be playing Extinction anyway. 4 Murders. Murder has been changed in the last patch there. It went from 3 cost 2 Threshold to 3 cost 1 Threshold, but the card text did change on us a little bit here. Instead of, I think now it reads destroy target non-artifact troop. Before it just said destroy target troop. So basically now you can't use Murder to destroy Eternal Guardian. It's more accessible to everybody now since it's less threshold now. It's only 1 threshold instead of 2. But it is not as powerful. But we still use it because it's a very good targeted removal card. The next card we have here is Inner Conflict. 3 mana cost. I keep calling it mana. I'm not even a Magic player. 3 resource, 1 threshold, Inner Conflict, prevents a troop from that so it can't attack or block. We have 2 of those in the deck here, and we have Repel, 2 resource, 1 threshold, destroy target attacking troop. Pretty basic there. Except we already talked about Ozawa. And for a health gain here, we have 3 Eternal Youths, 3 resource cost, 2 thresholds, an escalation health gain card. So you gain 4 on the first round, 8, 16, 24, etc., etc. And like I said, we have 3 Shards of Fate. And then for some card draw, alongside of Secret Laboratories, we have Pact of Pain. We can afford to do this with Pact of Pain here with our escalation cards. And it's coming very handy, if you have an escalation card in your hand and you're, and it's, you've already, wound it up a couple times there. You go and throw the Eternal Youth down, and you can go ahead and tap this Pact of Pain here a few times without having to worry about it, because you've already gained, 12 or 16 health there, so it doesn't matter, and it's a very good card draw. As long as you have the resources and the health to do it, it's perfectly fine. I like that particular card there very much. The next card we got here is Targeted Removal. Well, it's not really targeted removal, but most of the time it works as targeted removal, and that's a Persecute. 2 resource cost, 1 blood threshold. Target troop gets -3/-3 this turn. Typically, you're going to use this on a troop that has 3 or less attack and defense, so you'll be able to just remove that card off the field with no problem. Next card here we're going to use is Life Siphon. Now, Life Siphon also did get a change this last patch as well. It used to be, X for the casting cost and 2 blood threshold. Now it's 1x and 2 blood threshold. Still not a big change. I really don't know why they didn't do this the entire time, since Burn to the Ground is very similar to Life Siphon, other than it doesn't give you life back. So it, if you have 10 resource points in your hand, you'll be able to do 9 damage and gain 9 health. So this is another card for us that we can use to gain health as well. And outside of Ozawa and the Eternal Guardian, this card here is also what we can start building our resources towards to be able to finish off our opponent as well. So we run 3 of those. And then one of my probably most favorite blood cards, even though I'm not a big blood deck fan, and that is Relentless Corruption. 3 resource, 2 threshold, escalation. Basic action here. And if you're not familiar with this card here, it is put the top 1 card of the top 1 card of the opposing champion's deck into your hand. The thresholds of those cards all become 1 blood threshold. Every time this card is played, the number changes by 1. So the next time it'll be 2, then it'll be 3, then it'll be 4, and you'll just grab their cards. The cool thing about it is not only do their cards become 1 blood threshold, their cards aren't really part of your deck, so if you want to tap Secret Laboratory and you have some of their cards in your hand, go ahead and throw them out, because you're not going to want them anyway. The other cool thing is too, is if you're running low on resources and you have a Relentless Corruption in your hand, maybe possibly 2, and you mill some cards from their deck and they happen to be resources, regardless of what color they are, you can throw them down. You can still build up your resources and your champion's charge power. So it's kind of a versatile card in this particular deck here. So that's the actual deck there. I'll put the deck specs in the actual description below, so you can actually take a look at it here. And like I said, this is the first deck that I came up against in the HTP Challenge Series tournament, and it didn't like just destroy me, but it did very well, and there was no way I was actually going to be able to win against this, because there was just so much removal, there was just so much control, and it was just, I'm like, okay, obviously we need to change something about the deck that I was playing there. And I don't remember what deck I was playing. It was a Wild Sapphire deck, I believe it was, and it just couldn't keep up, basically. So other than that, the only thing that I see that this deck has an issue with is if you're playing against a diamond deck and somebody pulls out Soul Marble and then brings out the Aramod or whatever card it is that gives your troops +2/+2 plus spell shield and steadfast. Okay, since we have, most of our cards here are targeted removal, murder, inner conflict, repel, persecute. Okay, if you have that against this deck here, it's very, very difficult, because the only thing you have left for removal is extinction. So if you were to swap some things out here, or maybe put on your sideboard, put a couple chaos keys so you can actually get rid of that constant. One of my suggestions there. I did kind of take this deck here and morph it into a a Sapphire Blood Mill deck, and it works really well. That deck there also has a couple Chaos Keys in it as well. So just keep that in mind. Chaos Keys, if you depending on what you're coming up against, if that spell shield it's going to be tough. If since most of our removal here is targeted and not just full on board clear. So hopefully you like this deck here. Go and give it a shot. I really do like it. It's very powerful. It's not necessarily a quick deck, but I think it's well rounded. And whoever I was playing against there, I appreciate you kind of giving me some of the showing me some of the cards. Other than that, that's going to be the video for today. If you like the video, go and give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like this, go ahead and click subscribe, and I'll have another video for you soon.